Queen, mother.
Witch.
Witch. Don't forget that one.
Don't forget witch.
Yeah.
She was my student. I trained her.
Now she's a student of the dark side, an acolyte.
If you were in Star Wars, would you be on the light or the dark side?
Dark side.
Yeah, 100% dark side. Dark side user right here.
Why specifically?
I'm so sorry, but the dark side is cooler.
It just is. I mean, that's why I was driven to write this story. The transition that Anakin goes through. I think that was what really drew me to the story of Star Wars. Luke never fell the way his father did, but getting to watch the prequels and seeing that transition. After seeing the prequels, I was like, I relate.
100%. I really like the gray Jedi code. The gray Jedi code, and like I am just kind of a diplomatic person, but it's like a combination of the light code and the Sith code and the Jedi code. It's like this intermeshing of it being able to access your emotions, but using your emotions for good.
You know, actually, I'm a Gemini. I like to, I would be both. I guess I'd be gray, you know, but my lightsaber would be red. I don't know. People are gonna see this and be like, is Rebecca okay?
I love it.
The answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is no.
Just like Mother Anna say, I would be questioning the whole system of saying what is light and what is dark. I think definitely Jodie Turner-Smith would be like not existing inside of either side. You know, it's like I'm in the grave for sure.
Yeah. I'm just naughty. You know, it would be like room red, and then I'd be like, just kidding, blue. You know.
I love it. You're like, wait, never mind.
Just kidding. Or
Like, why is
keep them on their toes.
Why is half of your lightsaber bled,
Yeah.
but the other half blue?
Gemini, and then we're just astrology, and that's a whole other show.
I sense this is only a small part of a larger plan.
I'm definitely, that's it. No, I would be light.
You would
but
so be on the light.
I
You're
know
so
I
far
would
on
be.
the light.
But I want to be
of light.
Yeah. Charlie is the definition of the light.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
You're also the light for
Yeah,
sure.
you're light for sure.
I think I have a darker
Am I?
vibe,
Yes.
but maybe a lighter inside.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's the kind of like, you know, screw it all. Like what I love about the Sith part that I'm just like, you know what? Write it all down. I'm like, okay, all right, let's get that.
I don't picture you being like, and I slaughtered them.
No,
I don't imagine.
Can't do it. Even just saying it, like, I can't do it. Bad.
Yeah, I think we're all on the light side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're on the light.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm a
careless
bit more in the
murder.
middle than you guys, though.
Yeah. I just wanted the red lightsaber, I guess. It's a good hue.
Yeah.
I just want a good purple hue, and that's what.
No, purple's the
we'd
way to
like
go.
be.
Purple is the way to go.
Yeah.
This party's over.
What is it that you want to be known for in the Star Wars franchise?
Oh, that's a really good question. What do I want to be known for? It's gonna sound like a pat answer. I'm just so happy to be here that it hadn't occurred to me to think about what my legacy as a filmmaker might bring to this franchise. I'm so in awe of what a masterpiece George created and what a world he created, the universe he brought to life, how it's touched globally, multi-generationally, that it didn't occur to me that my contribution would be any larger than someone who designed a video game, but someone who wrote one of the High Republic novels. I feel like we're all pretty happy to be standing in George's shadow, for sure.
Who trained you?
We talked to y'all at Star Wars Celebration. And Amandla, we asked you if you had read any of Leslie's fan fiction.
The next thing that I'm gonna do is ask Leslye for the fan fiction that she wrote as a kid.
So have you two had a chance to discuss it?
No.
You did ask me about it at the time, and I told you under no circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah, you brought it up, and I shut it down pretty quickly. So that's on me, and we'll leave it at that.
So this is something that we both do, is write fan fiction for fun.
What's your fan fiction?
Well, I'm just talking about the backstories.
Oh yes. Go ahead, tell them. It's so fantastic. Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I was freaking out, of course, when I got the job. I was like, Star Wars. And so the idea that I was playing two characters, and I was like, I have to have a backstory, like an extensive backstory. So I wrote a lot, and it meant to just write, one sheet, and then it turned into like 60 pages. And then I distributed that to all the directors, and they would be like, great.
Do you think they read all of it?
No. I read all of it.
Yeah, you liked it.
Yeah, I loved it. Well, I guess it would get into spoilers if I talk too much about it. It was beautiful, and it was also very helpful for me to read as the person that was going to collaborate with you on this.
It's time to face the past.
I was talking to Amandla earlier, and they were saying how when they were crafting their character, they wrote 60 pages of a backstory. When you're approaching a character, what is your process, specifically for Star Wars?
Well, we had the amazing resource of having a vocal coach ladies and also movement coach as well to kind of help us hone these characters, at least for myself. And yeah, I approached it as like a former dancer. I approached it from a physical standpoint. How does he move? How does he stand?
The Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace.
For me, it was a lot about finding her origins and where she had come from, and kind of filling in the blanks of where we find her. And I'm an actor who likes to prep a lot, and for me a big thing was the makeup, because obviously it's how she looks. Now, when I read the character, I read her as a much colder and kind of unapproachable kind of person, and then once I had the makeup on, she became so much softer and kind of more sensitive and curious and excited by the world around her, which was really fun discovery.
How many hours were you in the makeup chair for?
Like an hour and a half. We got it down to an hour and a half, so not too bad.
Quick.
Yeah.
You keep saying it's not too bad, and I keep being like, that's freaking bad. I want to be 10 minutes.
As a child actor, you never have any makeup on. They just usually what they do is put olive oil in your hair and they spray some dirt on you, and then they're like good to go. So I'm used to.
What?
Wait, no. The characters I've played have always been like
Dirty
like
and olive oil?
feral. Yeah, olive oil in your hair. It's a classic. Oily hair.
That's the clip. That's the
Yeah.
one.
Then going from like less than a 10-minute like makeup time to then an hour and a half is like.
Step up.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on?
It doesn't make sense.
Just piggybacking off, I think we'd be remiss if we don't mention Leslye in this conversation too, in that she was so incredible. Leslie's just such a collaborative creator and leader. We got to actually sit in a room and talk to her about characters and development and where we were and where we're going, all these kinds of things that you take for granted. I'm like Amandla, I'm a dissector. I want to write everything down, and it was so freaking hard because they wouldn't give us the scripts. Every other show you work on, when it's not a secret, they'll print out the scripts, you go home, you write on the script, and you're great. And I need to write, I can't do it on the iPad, I gotta write.
Yeah, same. I'm
so
a paper girl forever.
I would go to, what's that French restaurant? It's around the corner for us in Windsor.
I
Do you
love it in
remember?
Windsor.
Cote? I went to Cote.
Yes.
Almost like nightly, and I would go write out the scenes, or like even some other people's scenes that I needed to know more information about, every part, and then I'd go back and write my notes.
You'd write them out because you weren't allowed the script.
Yeah, because we weren't allowed the script, and I'd write out all the lines, and then I'd break them all down and write like,
That's the
you know, like
funniest thing
create
I've
the
ever
background to it. But it's all that kind of work, and then being able to throw it away too, because you really gotta leave it at the door.
What is that?
What were you most excited for? The costumes, the makeup, the co-stars?
Lightsaber.
Yeah, the lightsaber.
You carry a Jedi weapon, but you are no Jedi.
I was excited for the sabers, I'm not gonna lie. That was my thing.
It's hard to limit it to one, honestly.
Yeah, but weren't you so excited to get a lightsaber?
I was so excited to get a lightsaber. I was so
Exactly.
excited. It's probably the top one. But a side step from that is just like the worlds. I didn't know that there were going to be so much creature work. We didn't know that it was going to be so tangible. We didn't know what we were walking into. And especially from the past, Star Wars has been really invested into that technology and beautiful advancements that they've made on it. But I was really excited when we learned that all of ours was going to be so tactful, real builds, the creatures with us in the room. That was really, really, really cool.
저는 대부분의 세트장 안에서 블루스크린에서 촬영할 줄 알았어요. 그런데 실제로 그 자연을 세트장 안에다가 만들어 놨는데 그 규모와 그 디테일과 그 흙과 나무와 그 모든 것들이 정말 완벽할 정도로 그렇게 세트장을 만들어서 너무 놀랐어요. 그래서 아니 우리 항상 스타워즈나 뭐 이제 헐리우드 영화들 비하인드 씬들 이렇게 보면은 대부분 이게 뭐라고 해야 될까 그 블루 스크린이 많았었는데 어떻게 이렇게 다 만들어 놨지 실제로? 그래서 너무 놀랬고 다음 세트장은 진짜 만들었을까 안 만들었을까 이게 너무 궁금했었는데 그래서 다음 세트장에 또 가보면은 또 똑같이 다 만들어 놓고 그 다음도 그렇고 그 다음도 그렇고 거의 다 8개 에피소드의 세트장을 다 완벽하게 지어놓은 그 작업 스타일이 저는 많이 놀랐습니다. 예.
How did that help you ground yourself in your character?
물론 많이 도움이 되죠. 맞습니다. 한국에서도 블루스크린 앞에서도 많이 연기를 하는데 그럴 때마다 상상력이 조금 이제 부족할 때는 그만큼 좋은 연기가 잘 안 나오는데 이것은 뭐 완벽하게 그 환경을 만들어놨기 때문에 연기하는데 굉장히 수월하죠.
We have a suspect, an old Padawan of yours.
Let me be the one to bring her in.
I was really excited about working with Jung-jae. And then, I mean, everything was exciting. You know, I really loved my look. I really loved my costume. I really loved when they were like, here's your lightsaber. And then they clipped it on. I mean, I loved all of it.
I think some of the best things happen when you're absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
I was very excited for that. And I read the scripts. I was like, oh my God, this is really good. And then, you know, knowing that I'm entering into this big universe. I mean, honestly, I didn't really have any real idea though. Like, I'm like, okay, Star Wars. Okay. Yes, but like it's not until, you know, you walk onto set and then it's like, oh, Star Wars. And then I was just like, tick of like a bunch of amazing things. And then I was playing a witch, mother, queen of everythingness vibe. And I was like,
typecast.
Yeah, I love that I'm being typecast. Queen, mother, witch. Don't forget that one.
Don't forget witch.
Yeah.
I have to ask a little bit more about the witch. How excited were you to kind of bring that element to the franchise?
Very, very excited, especially being that it was something that didn't necessarily already exist in this way. I was very excited about that because that meant, you know, a creative opportunity to like collaborate with someone who is as talented as Leslye and who is like such a bottomless well of information as well and ideas and excitement. That was like really exciting and interesting, and then it's a really freaking cool role. So that excited me.
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
Of course, all of the technical skill and artistry and craftsmanship that has to go into creating one of these sets, creating the costumes, creating the puppets. There's so much cool tech that is a part of this. I loved being able to be in the workshop and witness things being 3D printed and things like that. But on an artistic level, I was most excited to think about the central themes of Star Wars, which I just find so fascinating how it has been compelling internationally for, 50 years. And I think that's because the themes are so universal and spiritual, and they're very esoteric. They're very existential questions, and so to have the opportunity to try to translate those questions into characters was really exhilarating for me.
What did you learn about yourself through that process?
So much. I learned so much. I want to make these characters, and they're so different from me, And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, I just once again put myself into a character just in a different iteration, and it revealed something back to me. The stories and a lot of Star Wars is about trauma. It's about childhood trauma. It's about where you come from, what your home planet is, and how that experience shapes your life as an adult or as a warrior or as a Jedi or as a Sith. And one of my characters, I think, deals with her childhood trauma in a way that emotionally disconnects her from herself and therefore doesn't allow her to connect with the Force. And I think I've been reflecting recently on emotions and how if you suppress them, including the ones from your childhood and from the child inside, if you suppress them and you don't let them out, you separate yourself from your spiritual self and from your ability to really tap into who you are and let all of that weight go and move forward and, be a Jedi.
Yeah. If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.